my friends! Yay! Woohoo! Guess who's freaking back? Hello there! Welcome to the Glow Up Method. My name is Natasha. I am going to be your host today. And today I will be doing a catch-up recap of where I have been, what I have done, and just how much traveling has impacted my life, and I love it. So I am so excited to be back with you guys. It has been a minute. It has been so crazy. So anyways, I went on this 11-day cruise. Never had been on a cruise with my dad and his new wife, who happens to be my age, her mom and her husband, and her sister and her husband. So I was with 6 people, but I was really kind of alone. We did meet up for dinners and we did do a couple of excursions together. But beyond that, we all had different kind of interests and things that we wanted to do with our time. And so we just really never saw one another. So, right before I left, my daughter was like, "Mom, I think you have ADD." And I was like, "What are you talking about?" Like, of all the things that have been thought that I had, ADD had never popped up on my radar. And I was like, and so what if I am? I don't care. There's nothing, but it just gave me pause for wonder, do I? And so it was just a thought. And then I go on this cruise, right? So by the first day, I do everything. I've walked the ship. I've gone up. I've gone down. I've gone on all 19 floors. I've done it all. So by day 2, I'm like, I want to go home. I miss my family. It was cold. I was thinking it was going to be warm from the time that I left because it had been so warm in the Bay Area. And it was foggy and cold. And it was so foggy. The foghorn was going off literally every 2 minutes. And you would walk out and it was you couldn't even see anything. So it wasn't even you were on a sun deck and just enjoying the sun and the ocean. You couldn't even see the ocean barely. So I was like, oh my gosh, perhaps maybe I do have ADD. I don't know what else I'm going to do. How am I going to survive this for another 9 days? Boo-hoo. I know. I fully get it. This is some real, problem you have. Oh, I'm stuck on a cruise ship for 9 more days. I get it. It is not lost on me. But shortly after that, because, it was I was going through some stuff. I had my dad there, and it suddenly brought up some daddy issues I really didn't know I had. And then some things were upsetting me, and I can see everybody with their families and their friends and their significant other. And I didn't have any of those things. And I kind of felt alone. And then I had to remind myself, and I was even texting my kids, I miss you guys. I want to go home. And they're like, Mom, you go out there and be you. You do all the things that make you great. Go out there and make new friends. You love talking to people. This is a great chance for you. Go out there. And so I really took what they said to heart. And I was like, yeah, why am I sitting here sad? There's a whole plotter full of things that I could be doing. And there are thousands of people on this ship that, I have a captive audience. Where are they going to go? So I really started to check out all the activities that were going on and kind of plan out my day and say, oh my gosh, I want to do this, or let me try this, or this show sounds cool. So I really started to kind of get in the groove of it all. And I found myself literally in heaven. I was I am this is where I'm meant to be. I did Zumba in the morning. Then I did a dance fitness class. Then I was doing salsa or tango or friggin' the waltz. I was dancing. I was playing on a Survivor game. I was going to theater shows and musical shows and musical entertainers, and I was talking to people. I was learning their stories. I was sharing my story. And I was I never want this to end. It had this whole, how I had felt in the beginning versus how I felt the end was so vastly different. And I can't even say the ports were the highlight. The ports were just the ports. They were cool. I would say the first place I went, has a ton of potential. It's a beautiful city on the surface, but there just needs a lot more money and tourism and just infrastructure and stuff like that to make it something that feels like you're going to a destination. I felt really sad when I was there. I really wanted to help and contribute, and I felt really lucky live where I live, and seeing the families and the animals running around and just the filth and it wasn't my scene. It just didn't feel like I was on a vacation. I know it sounds mean, but like, I don't know. It had a lot of potential. It just wasn't quite there yet. So it was great for that, that learning lesson. Then each place as I went up, it was better. Like it felt more like a vacation, but, the ports weren't even that great. Like they were cool and fine and all, but like it was the time on the ship that I literally missed the most. Excuse me. It was the talking to people and the getting dressed up on occasion and just having a new experience every day, but yet finding like these comfortable experiences. So like every night, because I love to dance, I would go into the nightclub except for when we were doing excursions and stuff. But like if we were on a sea day, I'd go into the nightclub and I would do a little bit of dancing as much as my back would allow me to. It was really flared up and it still is. So I'm having to like really kind of take it easy and adapt. And it's really frustrating on one sense. And it's very humbling. And it's really like, I'm so appreciative of all the days that I could dance like a wild woman and my body not hurt. And I'm just not there right now. And so I'm really like honoring that. I've knocked my steps in half, literally. I'm doing 10,000 steps a day. Obviously it works out because I'm not as hungry. I'm eating probably 10,000 less calories a day as well, because, when I'm working out a lot, I eat a lot. And when I'm not working out as much, I'm just not as hungry. And it makes me sad because it's this one place and it's this one thing that really, really, really fuels my tank. And so I'm having to adapt it, and it's a little bit sad, but like even still I'm still doing it. So like I would do these Zumba classes there, and there were like so many people that came up and they're like, you're the Zumba girl, like we were watching you have the best energy, you always had a smile on your face. I don't even realize it, quite honestly. I'm just going out there and having a good time. It is where I feel like I can be free, where I can explore me, where there are no expectations on me, and that I only am the barometer. I am the scale. I'm in competition with myself. My goal is to just go out there and have a good time. And so like today I went to my dance class, my first one, like my favorite class, and I couldn't do it. Like I couldn't do a lot of things. And so instead of just saying, I'm not going to do it and back out, I just did a lot of the stuff in the arms, and I tapped out on my leg. I did what I could. And if I started to hurt too much, I just stopped. So anyways, that wasn't the whole point of this, but that is part of it. It's like, it's this openness and willingness to pivot and understand that where we are one day doesn't mean we're going to be there the next day. And it doesn't mean where I am today in pain is where I'm going to be again. I'm doing things. I'm going to the doctors on Friday. I did x-rays today, and I'm really, really hoping we can come to some kind of a solution or resolution as to what is causing all this pain, except for me acting like I'm a 20-year-old dancing around a classroom. Okay, sorry, but I'm not ready to give that up. And I met so many inspirational people. In particular, I met 80-plus-year-old women that looked amazing, that were cruising that ship solo. And I was like, how blessed am I to have crossed paths with you? And each one of them has taught me something different. So my dear friend Fatty, she had taught me this. She had said that number one thing in life is to put myself first. Okay, you guys know that is not an easy task for a people pleaser like me, and a mom and a caregiver. So her saying that gave me this permission, with even in the cruise aspect, to put myself first. There was a night I didn't want to go to dinner. I said I didn't want to go to dinner. There was a night I was at dinner and I was really struggling because I had got a text from Chris and it said something about my son in there, and I was just, my whole world had changed in that text, and I just didn't want to sit through the dinner. And so I listened to that lady's voice in my head, and I left the table instead of sitting there and torturing myself. I met another lady, Pava. Oh my God. This little whippersnapper, she legitimately could outdo me. She was riding camels. She went on a tequila tasting adventure. Like, she was up wild and later than I was, and up earlier than I was. She is a swimmer. She is a beauty. There was something about her that really reminded me of my grandma. And we just started talking because I had sat down during one of the game shows and they were asking these questions, and it was the goofiest game show. And then I was like, what do you think? And then, because she happened to be sitting by herself, and I had assumed she was there with family. And she was like, well, I don't know, maybe this. What do you think? And we started talking, and then comes to find out she actually was there with a friend, but the friend and her kept different times. So she too was very much alone. So every evening, and it ended up being like our set dinner time was kind of at the same time. So I'd always see her and she'd see me, and we're like, okay, I'm going to the show, then I'm going to this. So we would every night kind of meet up, and I'm so pleased that we got a picture in the end. I love it. And then I met another fabulous woman, Lila. She too was like a girl who grew up in the city that, or not grew up, but she lived temporarily in the city that I had grown up in. She still lives on the other side of the bay. She is able to do it, but she was this person who was also gave me some humbleness to understand. She was like, I don't know if I can book another cruise because there was so many challenges on this one I didn't foresee. And she's another one that I took a picture with, and we have plans because we were in the Bay Area to meet up for lunch again, because she was just this really cool lady who used to work in the financial district and was talking about being a woman in those times, and one of the only women in the financial district. And it just fascinated me. So, I say all this to say, I am so pleased for every traveling opportunity I've got this year. At the beginning of the year, I really thought besides soccer, this would have been my only trip. And again, I had this whole plan that I wouldn't release my podcast, YouTube, whatever this is, until after that trip. And I had this whole epiphany, and I launched on my birthday, as you guys know, and that was a really big, important thing for me. And here we are now, 50 episodes in, as to where I would have been just starting. And I'm really grateful for that. And so, this trip was spectacular for me for so many reasons. And I think the most important takeaway has been the relationships that I have cultivated. And it may not be relationships that I maintain for the rest of my life, but they were really real and important in the time that I did have them. Everybody was so kind from the minute I arrived, when I was like, why am I the only one with a big bag? And I asked this couple in front of me, they're like, oh, you put your bag over here. You have to go walk over here, da-da-da. We'll hold your spot. So I go and I do that. And literally they're like, come back in line. And so I find them in line. They walk me through everything. So I wasn't alone. We ran into each other multiple times on the ship. And they're always like, hi, so many people would just really brighten my day. And I don't know if it's a different aspect because everybody except for the crew members are on vacation, right? If you go on a vacation to Saudi Arabia, Sweden, Paris, London, you have a mix. You have people on vacation, but you have people working and living their real lives. This is their home, right? Whereas when you're on the cruise, everybody kind of has this different aura about them because they're all on a vacation. They're all on a break, from their normal life, unless cruising is their normal life. There was somebody who was celebrated at the captain's event thing dinner, and they were talking about how this person had cruised over 3,000 days. And I was like, oh, what? Maybe, yeah, I don't know. I could do that. At first when I was on the cruise, I was like, heck no, I couldn't do it. And then I was like, yeah, this is such a great thing for a female who wants to travel and feel safe and be able to explore and drink and eat and have shows. And it's just such a great thing. I don't know. I really enjoyed it. And I know not everybody is fond of open water or being in that close of, closeness with other people, but really there was something for everyone. And I really felt like, I would do my Zumba classes, I would do my dance classes, but then I would also make time to make sure I relaxed, to go up on the deck, especially when the sun came back out. I put a lot of sunblock on, so I didn't get a big tan or anything, but I definitely got a little sun-kissed. And just feeling the sun on my body and watching the ocean. And let me tell you, oh my gosh. So one night I get back in. It's like almost 2 a.m. I throw on my robe. I go out on the balcony. Why? Because I can. Like, I kept telling myself, when else? And like, when is the next time I'm going to be in the middle of the ocean and the sun, the moon is shining down on the ocean like this, and you can see all these constellations. I don't know when it is. Hopefully it'll be soon, but I don't know for sure. So I throw on my robe, I go running all the way up to the 19th deck, and I lay there and I just watch the moon and I watch the stars and I hear the ocean, and I feel so free. I feel so like open to whatever energy, whatever things are going to come my way. And it was just this beautiful moment that I'm so grateful I didn't sleep through or miss, that I have that memory for the rest of my life. And a few photos in case I forget, of just how beautiful this world can be and how many opportunities there are, and how sometimes we find challenges in really seizing those opportunities. And so I felt like I really seized it. But because I was such in this power of seizing everything, I was really, really pushing myself, even though I was tired. I'm not a drinker in my normal life. I don't have time for it. I don't want to feel like crap. I don't have a go-to drink. Like, I'm not opposed to it. It's not like in my life I ever wasn't a drinker or anything like that. I just quite honestly don't have the desire, the time, the necessity for it. But on this trip, I would always order. Of course, I was known around the cruise ship as the Bahama Mama, because that was my drink. And I would walk up and they're like, woo, the Bahama Mama is here. And, it just became my little trademark. I'm like, it just looks like I'm on vacation. Like, here it is with its pineapple and cherry and, pina colada looking stuff and the grenadine and the shot floating on the top. I didn't drink too many of them, and I never drank into where I didn't feel good. Whereas I can't say the rest for the rest of my crew. Let me just tell you, and these are professional drinkers. There was some vomiting going on. There was some fainting going on. There was some crawling into the room going on. But those two would rally back up in the evening, and I'm like, man, you guys are a different breed. I also didn't do my drinking until the evening. I would drink right before dinner to prepare myself for dinner, because I never knew what was going to happen at the dinner. And sometimes a little drink just kind of cut off the edge of that experience. But I really, really had a good time. I ate to excess. I drank to excess. I lost my voice to excess because all I did was talk, but I met some really cool people. There was this young gal, Emily, who used to be a nurse, and she was bullied, a nurse, right? We're all here to help each other. And she went on a healing journey a couple years ago with her parents and went on one from that experience. And then now she's going through a breakup, and she interviewed me, and she was like, what is your energy? And she was actually the only person on the entire cruise I told about the Glow Up Method. The rest, I was just always like, I'm a mom, I'm writing a book. I just really wanted to keep it I didn't want to think about work. I didn't want to think about that. But I can't tell you how many people were like, you should do a podcast. You should write a book. You should do this. You should go on Survivor. All these things. And I'm just to myself, little do they know I'm already in process of this. So it was this extra validation that, yes, I am probably on the right path. I don't know. And then when I came back, as I was saying, my dear friend Lori from high school, her mom had passed away. And again, just like my family, there is all this drama over freaking money. And it's so frustrating. It is absolutely heartbreaking, because she is such a good person. She is the funniest person I literally know. She is hilarious. She can make you smile and cry in the same time. She has the sweetest heart. And so to hear people bad-mouthing her that are her family, and to see how unsupportive they were within their own family dynamic, just really breaks my heart. It brings up obviously a lot of connections, and I can sympathize and empathize with the situation. It's just painful to watch it play out. It is just so painful. But on the plus side is that room was filled with so much love. That room was filled with family members, friends near and far that came to celebrate the beautiful life of the most beautiful woman I had ever known. And she just always had this princess-like quality about her. Her hair was always perfect. Her nails were always done. Her skin was always flawless. She just had a diva before the diva's timeness about her. She just was elegant, classy, beautiful, but yet so sensitive and so kind and generous. And, you know, like I said, she had really saw something in me and knew that I didn't have a mom, and she would always be like, come on honey, like, you know, pull back the blankets and pat the bed and be like, come on, like, talk with Auntie, you know, talk with Auntie Linda, and you know, first go get me a glass of wine though, you know. And then we would sit there and talk, and you know, it was this feeling like this is what it would have been like if I had a mom of my own. And I didn't have one in that essence, but I did have one in her. And so Linda, thank you for being a surrogate mom to me, and thank you for being a really good mom to Lori and your boys. And I know your boys don't see it, they're blinded by whatever they're blinded by, but you were an amazing woman. And there's never a day or time in my mind that as a mom I know for you that you weren't doing your absolute best. And so Linda, here's to you, girl. Like, you are amazing, and I can only hope to be half the beauty inside and out that you are. So during that time, I met with all these people. Some people I hadn't seen in like 25 years. I'm like, I don't know if you remember me. And they're like, no, of course we remember you, you know. And you know, it's just so crazy to see how in 25 years some people can change and some people can just literally be timeless and not change whatsoever. And you know, it was so great to catch up with her family, and on the same turn, it was really sad that it took, you know, the passing of someone to get everybody into the same room again. And so that's, of course, something that like presses on my mind, is like, we really need to do these things more often and not wait until the wedding or the funeral or the birth or whatever it is to gather with the ones we care about. We really got to work on, meaning me too, on making that happen more on a consistent basis. And so yeah, like I came back to that, and again, there was this young kid. I literally changed his diaper, and I was like, oh my gosh, like now I feel aged, because you know, like I changed your diapers and your sisters, like I remember when they were born. And here you are, like a young man out in the world dating and doing things like this. And I'm like, what? You know, it just was like mind blowing. But anyways, he was so funny because he was like, you know, I really think you should go on Survivor. I'm like, what are you talking about? You know, like, where does this come from? He's like, you need to film. I'm going to film you a 3-minute video and I'm setting it in. And it was like the big joke. We never did, we didn't even exchange numbers or anything like that. But it was just so funny. And he was like, or I really think you need to have a podcast. What's your podcast going to be about? I'm going to listen to your podcast. And I'm like, what are you coming up with this stuff? And I didn't tell him my secret then either. It was because this is not the time or place. And I'm not like big. I want it to be organic. I want the people to find me that are meant to find me. I'm not the like, hey guys, go listen to this. Like, listen, I don't even know my elevator pitch yet. I'm just here doing what I got to do. And I'm just really enjoying the process of meeting with you every day, getting this done and getting this part of it done. And the rest, well, I don't know. It better come soon. I don't know. Because I've just found out, well, while I was on the cruise, Chris is moving out, and he had asked my oldest son to move out with him. My oldest son did not know how to respond, so he said sure. And of course, initially I was devastated because my oldest son and I, as I do with all my kids, have a special bond. And I just felt so devastated in the manner in which it was told to me. It was told to me by Chris, and it was like, oh, and he's moving out with me. And it just was so like a gut punch. Like, I was devastated, and we have since talked, and as long as he's doing what makes him happy, I am in total support. I'm like, just choose what you want to do for you, what's best for you in your life, not what's best for me, not what's best for your dad or anybody else. figure out what's best for you. Like, that's my only thing. And I would wish you would have told me. And he's like, no, I had planned on it. I didn't think your dad was going to say something to you. But I was like, hey, it's common public knowledge. The only way you can hurt me is through my kids. And if he wants to hurt me right now, that's what he's going to do. And I'm struggling, and I'm really struggling because I don't want to fight. I don't want to, like, everybody I'm with is like, oh, go take him to court, go get this, get a lawyer. And I don't want to fight. I don't want to fight. I just want to do what's right, and I want him to do what's right. And I know we're dissolving a marriage, and our marriage wasn't filled with us doing things right. Otherwise, probably, guess what? We wouldn't be getting a divorce. But here we are, and I just want peace. Like, I don't know what's going on in my body. There's small fears, right? Like, my aunt's cancer started with like a pain in her body like this that started radiating and spreading, and as mine is. And I'm not saying that means I have cancer. I'm not saying it is, but it doesn't mean that I can't at some point. And do I want to sit here and argue with Chris? And do I want to sit here and go to court and make a lawyer wealthy? And do I want to sit here and fight and argue? I don't. I really don't. Like, I wish him well. I want the best for him. And I get tied up because I also get really frustrated, and I'm pissed. I'm pissed that he says, I don't want to give you $1. I don't want to give you one. I don't want to. I'm not giving you $1. You have to take on everything, even though it's more than I can take on, even it's more than I can do. That it is my lot in life, my punishment for not wanting to be treated like crap anymore and standing up for myself. And so it's really hard because I'm conflicted, right? Like, I don't want to fight. I just don't want to fight. I want peace. That's the whole point of this. I want it to be done, and I want to be in peace, and I'd love to, at some point in time, be his friend. And he told me today, if there's anything to be involved with me, he wants nothing to do with it. And it just breaks my heart because I'm like, what did I do so bad? Like, what did I do so bad that I finally, after I thought you were the one who was saying this is what you wanted, that I was in agreement, like, yeah, we should just end this, that it was my misunderstanding of him, and then I didn't take it back and was like, no, I feel relief. I feel like this is what it's supposed to be done. Like, why am I being punished because I don't want to be treated bad? Wasn't the punishment enough taking being treated bad? And then there's that part of me that questions and is like, maybe I should have just never woke up. Maybe if I would have just stayed asleep in my life, stayed miserable, stayed that woman that found herself at the side of a mountain so broken and destroyed and upset, she was willing to end it all. Maybe that would have been better. Maybe I wouldn't be in this position. But at the end of the day, I know that's not true. And I know things are going to get really hard. And I know they're really hard right now. And they're only going to get harder. And I know there's a lot of responsibility in me. I freaked out. I yelled at my kids. I was like, I can't take anymore. I'm about to have a nervous breakdown. And that's not me. That's not me anymore. But that is my default. And I'm struggling. And I don't have a lot of help. And I don't have a lot of support. And I'm also not really good at asking for it. So I need to make this work. I need to do something to ensure that I have food on my kids' table, that I can power on the electricity, and I can pay for the internet so I can upload this without having to go to McDonald's and use their Wi-Fi. My back is against the wall. I need this to work. And I know this is what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm just running out of time. And this wasn't the timeline I had wanted. I had always envisioned that he would stay until Tyler was done with school. And I always thought I had this extra year and a half to get it all figured out. And then at least my kids would be settled. And it would just be me trying to figure out how to take care of me, not me trying to figure out how to take on the world. And that's where I am right now. And I'm exhausted. And I'm overwhelmed. And I'm scared. And I'm sad. I'm sad that everything I did didn't mean anything to him. Every sacrifice, the career I didn't have because I was a mom, and I was a damn good mom. I supported those kids. I am part of the reason they are alive. I advocated for the best doctors and surgeries and medicine and everything that was available. And I chose that. But there was value in it. Like, I deserve something. I deserve $1 a month. And the fact that you don't even want, I'm not telling you what to give me, but the fact that you're saying that myself and my son, that is still a minor, are not even worth $1, it just breaks my heart. And that I am not family. And that anything that has to do with where I'm at, he doesn't want to be at. It's just really sad. It really breaks my heart. It just does. But I will continue to be me, and I will continue to wish him well, and I will continue to hope and pray and send good energy out there that maybe one day he'll have a change of heart. And that those days when our kids have kids and get married, that we can be in the same room and be in peace and know that we did share this moment of time together. And that for whatever reason, we tried to make it work and it didn't. And at the end of the day, I love him enough as the father of my kids to want him to be happy and to know that I don't have the power to make him happy. And that happiness is within him, and to know that happiness is also within me, and it's my responsibility to make myself happy. And I'm sorry that we couldn't do it together. I really am, because it would have been so much easier, right? Life would have been exactly the way I had dreamed it. So this is not what my dream was. This is not what I wanted. But I did not also want to be treated poorly, and I did not want to be kept and held down to the commitments that a 22-year-old girl did and made the best she could with the skills and the tools that she had at the time. And so I'm much different, and I have to believe that when all is said and done, that this will all have been worth it, and that I will survive this, and I will fight like I have always until I cannot fight anymore. And so I don't know what the next future is going to hold of me, but I appreciate you tuning in and being a part of it and being a little piece of my sanity in this really uncertain time in my life. So thank you so much again for tuning in. I hope that you have the opportunity to take a cruise, take a trip, even if it's just to a local restaurant that you've never been to. Try something new. You never know what's going to happen. And I say all this to say, please go out there today. Give somebody a big smile. Give them a compliment. And just watch how they glow up. Bye.